everybody. My name is Jade Darmawangsa. I'm the founder of X8 Media, and we produce educational entertainment for SaaS companies and brands. So what inspired me to get started is I just love making videos at heart. I made videos since I was 9. I played with dolls, and that's literally, it just comes out of passion. And I've recently, in the span of, I would say, 3 years, have taken my hobby into like a full-time living. So my company, we have over a team of 20 now at X8 Media, and I obsessed with just working with our clients. But yeah, it wasn't so long till I actually was full-time. For solid 10 years, I was making like videos for free, unpaid, out of passion. But that's how I really got started.
One of your earliest memories was with starting with dolls. Is that your absolute earliest entrepreneurial memory?
Yes. I mean, here and there, I will be the bossy, demanding person I am as a kid. My mom could definitely say that was in me. But when I was 9, I started a YouTube channel called Kitty Films 8. Don't look it up. It doesn't exist anymore, but it's a show where I played with dolls, and I would sell dolls. And I would create my e-commerce store and an Amazon profile to sell products. And that's my first really taste of e-commerce marketing.
So have you ever started any other businesses than the one you've started now?
I have. In the span of a year and a half at X8 Media, most of our videos the main portion of our videos are just sponsorships and managing YouTube channels. But here and there, I have dabbled into software. So we have another project called PBJ App, which is an app I'm working on. I also have something called Eat Like, which is a food box. I definitely think I'm your typical ADHD kid that can't pick one thing to do. So that's why you can see I love diversifying my time in projects that I believe in.
So from all of those different businesses you've started, is there any kind of thing that stands out as your worst entrepreneurial failure?
Yeah, a ton. I would say my recent failure was not being able to say no to people, even if it makes me look better and my reputation's important. It's really important to say no. And so let me give you the story. So essentially what happened was, for Eat Like specifically, Eat Like is a food box where you can eat like your favorite influencer.
Yeah.
And it really just started because most of my friends are really big creators and they love the idea. And here's the issue, when you get a lot of social validation, you almost don't want to stop because people are cheerleading you on. And I'm not trying to go into details, but let's just say some of the biggest people I look up to even in the industry for YouTube or brands, they love this idea. They were literally Jay, this is genius. And I'm I was on a high. I was like, oh my God, I'm so freaking cool. And even though the company itself, we sold hundreds of boxes, but it was unprofitable. The thing was, we were bleeding money like crazy. Each box costed $20 to the consumer. It costed us $25 to fulfill. So I know a startup, it's very normal, Facebook, every company in the world loses money in the beginning. It's normal, but it was to the point where, am I doing this out of, what's the why out of it? If I'm going to bleed money like crazy, why? And I realized my why wasn't good enough. When it came down to it, it's not deleted or paused or I threw away the project. I just had to really think about how I could make this company an actual, I had to really think my why. And that was the past month. I was so I put it on pause for 3 months, which is actually the blessing of my life because the coronavirus, the perfect storm happened. So the coronavirus happened and it allowed us to take some downtime to really reflect. And I've learned that it's really important to say no and know your why, because you could be doing things for other people, and at the end of the day, you could be either losing money, which is at the worst, but even worse is to lose yourself. So that was my biggest failure recently in the span of a month, and I'm still reflecting on it, and I think it's probably the best thing that's ever happened, just to be able to pause and analyze why you're doing something.
So coming away from a worse failure, can you pinpoint your happiest entrepreneurial moment?
Wow, good question. So here's the thing. I'm happy when I typically break myself to my limits. And it sounds really weird, but I really believe before any breakthrough, you're gonna have a breakdown. Yeah. So to be very honest, my lowest points in my life were typically actually the highest points typically next to it, right? It's just that it's really hard to admit, because it means you have to go through some deep waters to really feel happiness. So one example is probably my most recent happiness is for Eat Like and my YouTube, there was a point like last year where it was the lowest amount of views, the lowest amount of everything, like lowest amount of clients, like just literally the lowest amount of money. Like I don't think I even made $1 single for a single month at one point. And I had money saved up and stuff, but I was also like, I have to pay my team. And like, I was so stressed because I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can survive next month. And I think my happiest moment was literally like reaching rock bottom, not having enough money to pay my team the next month, having so much stress and like not able to hit deadlines, when suddenly out of literally like, I guess luck, but suddenly this client finally came through at the perfect time. I was able to pay my taxes. It just literally like perfect timing. And that was probably my happiest moment. Not necessarily that I got a big check, but it was the fact that throughout everything, I didn't give up. Like, I think that's what my happiest moment was. And it wasn't really a really real point, because I actually didn't realize I was happy until looking back. And I think that's the hardest thing to understand as an entrepreneur. Like, you sometimes don't know what's going on until you look 3 months back, right? And you're like, oh, that's why that happened. So that was like last fall. That was probably one of my happiest moments. I remember like almost like tears of joy out of being able to survive the next few months. And then I guess my most recent happiness also, personally, I've been also surfing and working out. So, every day I find myself having a peak of joy, doing those small little things. I don't think there's one moment that I'm extremely happy though.
I've looked at a few of your videos, obviously, and you said that you moved to LA at 17, which is very young. Was there any kind of big mentors or people that you kind of followed, thinking that, I'm going to move to LA at 17 and I'm going to be like them?
So yeah, I was actually 16. I remember. Yeah, I was I was 17. I think I was actually 16 turning 17, something really young. And yeah, I mean, my mentality going about it was I literally had like 2,000. By the way, I haven't even opened up about it in a while. So only like a few of my friends know. I don't think even my parents knew. Like, when I wanted to move to LA, it literally didn't make sense. Like, I literally dropped out of school the month before. I had like I had 10,000 followers, but like I didn't have a ton of money. Like, I was literally the psychotic person that just packs their bag and go to LA. Yeah. And my mentality I remember driving for 16 hours to go to LA, like moving there, my stuff. And like, I think my thought process was like, I just don't know what's going to happen. And in that moment, when you face unknown, it's uncomfortable. And most people run from being uncomfortable. They're like, okay, I'm uncomfortable, peace out, done. But that was the first time where I sat in stillness with uncomfortable, and there wasn't necessarily any technique, but when you face some sort of discomfort, don't run away from it. And I really learned it from LA. Like, for example, I'm in a new place I've never been into. I could easily say, okay, it's time to go home, but I just sat in LA for God knows how long. Like, I really realized that the scariest things that you're afraid of are actually not that scary. You just have to face it and like sit with it for a little bit, which is really awkward and painful, but it's crucial for any type of move or growth.
So my final question that I've got written down is, if you had one piece of advice for yourself when you were starting out, what would it be?
My one piece of advice would be 2 things. I think that I would not be here without, it sounds so cheesy, but I can't even explain that, like, I am not the smartest person. Like, people think like, wow, you're so smart. I'm like, no. But the second thing is, like, people also say like, wow, you're so brave. I'm like, I'm really not. I think I got lucky in 2 things. Like, I work really fucking hard, but I got lucky where my friends are literally some of the most inspiring people to me. And the way I went about that is I didn't just sit there and waited for people to come to me, but I reached out to people every day. So for my biggest advice, not necessarily for me, but also in general, like, relationships are so much more important than what you know. I think there's a quote, it's like, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And it's also in a sense of like, not just making friends so you can get money out of them. Like, that's not what I'm trying to say, but true relationships are so valuable. And especially if you have the right circle of maybe entrepreneurs or artists or whatever that is, you might not see it short term, but long term it goes so far. I can't tell you the amount of times where I literally only got projects just because it wasn't me, but it was because of my relationships that I've nurtured and built. Looking back, I guess if I was to look at my younger self, I think what I really screwed up upon is not being able to, I think like there's nothing I really regret, but I think my younger self definitely thought I was the shit. Like, I think I needed to be humbled a few times. So like, I guess like looking back too is like, when you do want to build your network or your people or anything going about, like, don't think, I don't know, I think it's like, there's a Gary Vee, like, eat shit thing. I'm not trying to say that, but I am trying to say, like, learn from other people. There was times where I didn't listen, and I wanted to speak too many times, and it comes out of, like, immaturity, and, you know, I was 16, but I definitely think that, I definitely screwed up upon where I had literally so many people that I could have listened to, but I opened my mouth a little too much. And that's something I still work on to this day. So I guess looking back, I would give myself advice and say, Jade, you don't always need to know everything. And you can say, I don't know, and you're still just as smart. And I think that's really important to know that you can be smart and powerful and strong and still listen and ask for help. And I think that's hard for me because I want it to be super independent and so cool, but you need people and you need to listen. It's a skill that's fundamental.
No, and I think that is a really strong message to give across. So thank you so much.